Good morning. The most important driver of who wins the space race will be how many payloads can be lifted into orbit. And that's likely to be a function of supply chains that can build satellites and rockets, and how often those rockets can be used. So we should imagine two races going on, one in reusable rockets, and the other in the manufacturing chain with satellites. China just became the second country to score big advances in reusable rockets. CASC is a Chinese state-owned company and is now in the same league as SpaceX and Blue Origin in a recovery of its original booster rocket. Their system deployed a sea platform with a net. CASC plans to build low Earth orbit satellite constellations. The net capture means that their rocket can be designed differently and lighter because it will not require landing legs. That was in July. Then this month, another Chinese company, Landspace, launched and recovered its rocket and also was compared to SpaceX and Blue Origin. Landspace's ZQ-3 is compared here to SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket. Landspace's is less expensive to build, and the stainless steel design is more durable on re-entry. The Falcon 9 carries a larger payload and is designed for more launches over time. This is a major hurdle that both these companies have cleared and allows for lower cost launches. And that has obvious implications for strategic and military sectors. More satellites translate immediately into improved capabilities to identify, follow, and engage targets on the ground. Two Chinese companies, two different approaches to reusability and recovery. They will right away impact China's future capabilities to put more satellites up and more often. China had already made big strides in space anyway before CASC and Landspace made the news over the summer. China is catching up fast and is already ahead in key metrics. Their Beidou satellite navigation system is a direct competitor to GPS and has already proven decisive in the Persian Gulf War after the Iranians switched over to Beidou from GPS. Remote sensing is the use of satellites to capture data from the Earth, and industry insiders believe the Chinese are already ahead there. Take those together, and Washington's ability to project power are undermined. And China's satellite imagery could be used by adversaries to target friendly forces. Wall Street Journal, 9 May. High-resolution imagery from Chinese satellites is spreading online, and China now can do a lot of what the US can do. China has dramatically increased the number and type of military-capable satellites. In navigation and positioning, more than the rest of the world combined. Big numerical advantages in signals intelligence satellites and in radar imaging. In remote sensing, China leads the world in research for the sensors and for satellite positioning. They rank first in 5 out of the 11 key technologies in remote sensing, while the US systems led in 4. Today there are over 510 Chinese military satellites, which is an increase of over 5 times in just a decade. Those newest generation satellites allow for far higher resolution than previous models and can identify and track US assets, even so-called stealthy aircraft, which aren't supposed to be tracked at all. Mizar Vision is a small Chinese company. It's a startup. For months, the company was posting satellite imagery on social media, including the movements of American bombers and aircraft carriers. It was one of the companies sanctioned by the State Department in May, And in June, the company published satellite photos of the Abraham Lincoln. Repeating for emphasis, Mizar Vision is a startup AI company in China. And so it begs the question of how good the tools must be for bigger state companies or those used by the Chinese military itself. We'll repeat this part too, that China's quantum improvements in remote sensing and in BeiDou and for high-resolution imagery and satellite laser communications, they all took place before land space and CASC got reusable rockets figured out. The US Space Force is worried what China may be up to in counter space capabilities, which might disable American satellites. And the Space Force hopes that these advances in Chinese space technology results in a funding bonanza. We're reminded of the joke from the Cold War that the true enemy of the United States Air Force is not the Soviet Union, it's the US Navy. The Space Force needs a lot more money and resources if they're going to attack threats in space, not just to protect friendly satellites, but to challenge China. Space Force wants new constellations of satellites with lots of smaller ones that would confuse adversaries, the thinking goes. The commander of the US Space Force believes that China has the second best remote sensing systems, capable of tracking US Navy assets in the Pacific, including major surface ships and aircraft. That report was dated February 26th. On 21 February, Mizar Vision shared imagery of US Air Force planes on Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia. Prince Sultan was a staging area for tankers and AWACS aircraft for the war on Iran that would kick off about a week later. In late March, that air base was hit by Iran. On 18 July, the Iranians hit it again. Numerous aircraft were destroyed or badly damaged, with 12 Americans wounded. There were other consequences of that second strike on the Prince Sultan Air Base. House of Saud is saying here that the July attack put an end to whatever immunity the Saudis thought they still had, and it exposed deep problems with air defense missile systems in the Gulf. Hundreds of millions of dollars worth of aircraft destroyed on the tarmac, and the kingdom is running out of interceptor missiles. PAC-3 missiles cost $4 million each, and they're engaging Iranian drones that cost $40,000 each. Those interceptor missiles cost 100 times what they're trying to shoot down. Saudi Arabia began the war, which is only 6 months old, remember, with 2,800 PAC-3s. 86% of those are gone, and now stockpiles are down to 400. That means each launcher is left with 3.7 each on average. Saudi Arabia placed an order for 730 more, but those won't come until 2028 at the earliest. Before the so-called ceasefire, daily depletion was 63 rounds per day, which means that if hostilities with Iran resume, Saudi Arabia will be completely out of interceptors in under a week. With the wars in Ukraine and in the Middle East, NATO arsenals are being drained much faster than they can possibly be refilled. And now comes news that China's access to space is going to dramatically accelerate while their cost to put new payloads into orbit fall. Space Force says that China speed is their greatest challenge and believes now, in August, that anti-satellite systems is the best way forward. They selected 14 companies to design and build new satellite systems. And that leads to the second part of the space race. Reusable rockets push the cost down and enable more launches. The second is the building and the deployment of the satellites themselves. And here we run into another serious China problem. The supply chains for satellites run through the rare earth mines and refineries here in China. Here is the list of the 14 companies selected for the Andromeda program. 6 of those are already under sanctions from China. These are also some of the same companies that are being asked to bum rush the production of new interceptor missiles and other munitions to replace all the ones that have blown up in Gaza and in the Persian Gulf and in Ukraine. That's to say that these same rare earth metals and magnets that the Pentagon needs to replace their radars and their interceptor missiles, and that Saudi needs if they hope to protect their country from Iranian inbounds for more than 7 days, China's locked down the supply chains for all of them. Handing out billion-dollar contracts to build satellites does not mean that any satellites will actually be built. And when Space Force generals say in open source media that their objective for their new satellites is to kill Chinese ones, we should assume that China won't help them. This is Wuhan. Be good.